NFL games we played this regular season, they are all gritted out right here. That means it is officially football season. Yeah. I feel great.
Good stuff.
This is exciting.
This year, get more than 6 games right, okay?
Oh, you know what? I don't. Let's check.
I'm going to make a list before the season starts of Nick's worst picks.
Let's keep a prediction book. Dusty, get on it. Prediction book.
Go, Jim.
We got a great show for you today. It is raining all day here in New York, but we have a sunny 3 hours for you. OBJ says he felt disrespected by the Giants. Lev Bell has some interesting words for his critics, and Ezekiel Elliott knows as much about his holdout as you do at home. That is where we start today with the Dallas Cowboys. Look, if they get everyone paid, yeah, they're very well in the running for Super Bowl contenders this season. But with training camp just a week away, there are still questions looming, namely, will Zeke be there? According to reports, he doesn't actually know yet. The fourth-year running back with 2 years left on his deal has yet to decide if he will hold out. Cris Carter, how important is it for the Cowboys to get this deal done before the season starts?
Well, this important? I mean, he's got 2 years left on his contract. After discussions have led Zeke to believing that he was going to get a new contract, then it becomes more of a priority. Then it becomes more important. But Dallas does not have to sign Zeke to a contract extension. So in Zeke's world, it's very important. In Dallas's world, because Dak doesn't have a contract, Amari doesn't have a contract, I would say it's not the most important thing to them. So Zeke has the ability to be able to hold out. And that's what will make it a priority. Now, going into no, there's other things that have to be worked out. It's not a matter of who's the best player. He's got 2 years left. Dak's the quarterback. It can't afford for him to get hurt. So he would be a priority, even though he's not as important to me as far as what Dallas is going to do as Ezekiel Elliott and what he provides for that offense.
I don't think Cowboy fans or football fans in general terms actually really care if Zeke is paid or not, how much Zeke is paid. What they care about is he going to miss games? Is he going to be out there? And if Zeke is going to follow through with these rumored threats that he would potentially not show up if he does not get a new contract, then him getting a new contract all of a sudden skyrockets to the top of the Cowboys' priority list. Because we've heard no rumblings that Amari Cooper is thinking of sitting out. And if he were to, while it would be damaging for the Cowboys, it wouldn't be missing Zeke. We, of course, have heard no rumblings that Dak is considering sitting out if he doesn't get a new deal. I can't remember the last time a quarterback sat out and missed time in a contract dispute. You had Carson Palmer sit out because he didn't want to be somewhere, but that wasn't about money. That was about location. So if Zeke if he's not bluffing, if it's a real threat, it becomes the most pressing issue for the Dallas Cowboys, because pick any number you want. Like, they're 16-3 when he goes for 100 yards and 16-13 when he doesn't. If you want to do rushing and receiving, 22-7 when he goes for 100 all-purpose, 10-9 when he doesn't. What those numbers mean is the Cowboys without Zeke, or without Zeke playing like Zeke, are a 500 football team. When Zeke plays the way we know he can, they are one of the most dynamic teams in the league. He is that much of a difference maker, and in what I consider to be an incredibly critical year for the Cowboys, you can't afford to have him missing any time, whether it be 1, 2, or 3 games start the season.
So, Chris, who's got the leverage here? Is it the Cowboys because they know the off-the-field incidents that Zeke has been involved in and they can maybe hold that over him? Or is it Ezekiel Elliott? Because like Nick said, he's basically the focal point of that entire offense.
Right. I would say that a player being a first-round pick, because he was compensated, he was a top 5 pick, so he was already compensated going in. I would say a player that's a lower draft pick or a free agent and they have success, I think that they have more leverage, because Zeke can't cry poor. He can't cry, you know something? I've never gotten paid. I'm going to hold out to make sure that I have insurance policy. Well, you got paid the first time around. So this is a very difficult situation for Dallas to be able to finesse through, because Jerry Jones, and how I've known Jerry through the last 30 years, Jerry's star players are going to get paid. But in the last couple years, you see Stephen Jones taking over more of that role, making more of the sound bites, comments about players' contracts. And he's a little less emotional than Jerry. He's not as close to the players as Jerry and starts to bring a little common sense around the Cowboys. And I like that Jerry has this buffer with his son, because I believe ultimately it will help them as far as getting these deals done, Nick.
But this era of Cowboys football, if we're being honest, it ended. We didn't know it, but the previous era ended when Tony Romo got hurt before the 2016 season, and this era began with the 2016 draft, with drafting Dak and Zeke. And let's just think about how these years have gone. Year one went as perfectly as one could imagine. Dak was 10 times better than anyone realistically expected as a fourth-round rookie.
I would have to disagree with you a little bit on that one.
Which one?
Because remember I told you, you said that first year.
Oh, up until the regular season. I mean, I'll get to the playoff part.
Because you said that first year went as good as possible.
As anyone could have imagined until there's about 30 seconds left in that playoff game. Like the Cowboys year one, you have Dak, who no one had any expectations for, fourth-round pick. Zeke, who people had enormous expectations for. Zeke met him. Dak far exceeded him. They have the best record in the NFC. They have the 1 seed. They execute a 15-point fourth-quarter comeback and tie that game twice and then lose at the gun on a field goal. So it was so many good feelings. So many things went well. And, Chris, you said at the time, man, I wonder if this will be the closest this team gets. You have all these guys playing at this level, healthy, cheap. You had a home field go through Dallas. Couldn't make it happen. Year two, Zeke suspended. First game of that suspension. They get blown out by Atlanta. That one game was the difference between Atlanta making the playoffs and Dallas making the playoffs. Year three, first half of the season, you don't have wide receivers. We talked all offseason about how the Cowboys are going to replace Witten and Dez. What are they going to do? Who's going to help out Dak? They didn't have an answer for the first half of the year, which negated the fact that once they got an answer there, they won 8 of 9 down the stretch. But they had already dug themselves too deep of a hole to make a real, they would have had to go on the road repeatedly in the playoffs. Weren't able to do it. Now you're in year 4. Like, after this, everyone gets paid. After this, the team becomes expensive. After this isn't the young, up-and-coming team it was. So that's where Zeke has leverage, in my opinion. The Cowboys know how critical this year is organizationally, and that you can't squander year one because of a bad first half against Green Bay. Year two because of suspension. Year three because you don't have your wide receiver core. Year 4 because Zeke is holding out. That's where Zeke's leverage comes into play.
So just give us a taste. If Zeke is showing up and he's playing, and you've got Dak and you got Amari Cooper, the team as currently constructed, how good could they be if everyone is there? For Dallas fans that are thirsty for this to be the year after we went through all those years.
Right. There's a number of things that I have to see. There's a number of holes in their offense. How will they threaten the defense down the field? They're a lot faster with Randall Cobb being in the slot. So their down-the-field passing game, I believe, will be much improved. They have to improve their red zone. Nick has talked about that an awful lot. And from a defensive standpoint, how good are they going to be as far as a pass rush? I mean, they're missing a lot of guys from last year, and the guys they have replacement, how good are they going to be? They should be in the playoffs. I'm not going to get into Super Bowl aspirations because they got too many pieces that you don't know about. So anyone that thinks that Dallas is a Super Bowl favorite right now, they are guessing at best at the end of July to think what this team is going to look like. But they have to continue to improve. Dak's got to improve as far as the passing game for them to be one of the elite teams in the league.
All right, let's take a break. We'll talk much more about this coming up. But on the other side, Le'Veon Bell. Lev Bell calling out his critics loudly. That's next on FS1. You can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel. It's on Sirius XM, and we will be right back.